guys. As usual, I'm about to do my hair. We're gonna make some coffee, and then we're gonna have some conversation with my wife at JAYY Snow, who is also live. So thanks for tapping back in. I'm gonna start combing my hair now because my hair looks a mess. As you can hear, it is raining in Hawaii. And it has been raining all morning, so it's super wet outside. We had a mosquito in our cabin all last night. So yeah, just join the adventure with us. Subscribe to be a part of our journey. Okay. My tripod sadly got delayed. It was supposed to be here Sunday. Amazon, I'm going to be calling you. They've now extended the ETA to November 5th. And I'm upset about it. Why did you tell me it'll be here by Sunday, which already wasn't 2-day shipping, when it was not? Now the 5th is what, Wednesday? So it was like it was already 5-day shipping, and then now they extended it by like 4 more days. So I'm upset with you, Amazon. If you don't want to deliver to Hawaii, just say that. So yeah. So I'm just doing my hair. I did a poll yesterday. When I finish my hairstyle, I will ask again. I also definitely need to dermaplane, so I'll be doing that today as well.
It's also not that cold, but it feels a little cooler because it's wet, I guess.
Hey, boo.
Hey, babe.
How's it going?
Good. How's up, my gang?
Oh,
Retrieve.
they're slowly arriving.
Yeah,
but
no, we were behind. We were behind, but we're here now. Let me tripod y'all up. Make sure you guys give me the thumbs up. If you guys don't know, it is me, Jay Snow. In addition with Addy, we are here in Hawaii on our homestead. It's coffee time. Thank God. Let's go fill this kettle so we can have water.
Welcome in.
Water, water, water.
Thanks for making the coffee this week. I had told them I thought my tripod would be here so I could be resuming coffee duties.
I know. So that is one thing that we have heard about more than we've actually been impacted by.
Yeah.
Is how hard, or not hard, but how it can be challenging to get things delivered in a timely fashion, like we're used to on the mainland.
Yeah. For sure. And also the lack of accuracy, because like, you know, some websites, they'll just straight up say we don't deliver to Hawaii. And that's so much better than what Amazon is doing, right, which is running me around.
Amazon scam.
Because I could have ordered from another place. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. They told you it would be here.
They told me it would be here.
Told you it would be here. So, yes, it's that kind of day. What's up, Ramiz Fit Car? Ramiz L Fit Car. Hi. Welcome in.
Welcome.
Good morning. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Make sure you guys like the video. And if you're not subscribed, go subscribe right now. And then I can do the sub dance for you. Subscribe. Thumbs up. We're making coffee. Right now I got to turn the kettle on, and then I'm going to go get the French press and get that cleaned up for us to use.
Thanks, Boo.
We've got barely any milk. Grocery management has just not been so easy.
Not as much. Feel free to go light on 9 milk. I'm like, where's it? Oh, there it is. Bug spray time.
Right. I'm next. Be next. Be next.
Of course. So. Whew. I'm not gonna. I know. Go first.
Oh, come on now. There you go. Mid-bite. Come on.
False alarm.
Here, baby. No, you got a bug spray up out here. Okay.
I love my wife so much. I always let her go first.
Mm. Ooh. I like the taste of that. Okay. French press.
I do have gratitude for the level of function that the tripod has at this point in time.
Right, because it's better than no tripod.
It's better than no tripod, but definitely looking forward to having a tripod. A permanent one. Thank you to the donations that have allowed us to even get a tripod in the first place. We appreciate you guys so much.
And if you haven't donated and would like to, make sure you check our bio or the pinned comment.
Pinned comment.
And you can donate to our GoFundMe.
Yep. Send us a housewarming gift. Thank you so much for your support. Oh, is it Monday today? Oh, yeah. Happy Monday, y'all.
Happy Monday. It's a new month. It's a new week.
It's a new day.
It's a new day.
It's like you said, a new month. How's November going for you guys? I'm already getting emails about pre-ordering your Thanksgiving turkey.
Right. Are you guys ready for Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Do you have the plans made? Do you know whose houses you're going to and who's making the mac and cheese?
Yeah, that's the time. And you know, I guess we didn't know whether Thanksgiving would be a huge deal in Hawaii. I don't know. If anyone in the chat is from Hawaii, let us know if Thanksgiving is a big deal here. But so far, Halloween has been a big deal. And I'm getting emails from Hawaiian grocery stores about Thanksgiving. So I guess we're experiencing a new culture. And I would love to have a Halloween style Thanksgiving, whatever that is.
Halloween style Thanksgiving.
Oh wait, Hawaiian style Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Like, what's the Halloween style?
Yeah, but
Thanksgiving?
go ahead and hit the thumbs up. Go ahead and subscribe. Go ahead and tap the linked comment. Hey, Roya Yagobi. What's up, Roya Yagobi? How are you? Hello, everyone else. You can say hi in the chat. You can thumbs up the chat. We're just two women off-grid Hawaii.
2 women, 3 acres.
2 women, 3 acres, aka Off-Grid Hawaii Life. We got myself and at JAYY Snow, who is also live. Cool, good, what about you? Oh, I am fabulous. I'm so grateful to be waking up in an Off-Grid Hawaii morning. I feel like I'm just like everybody else. I can be a little cranky in the morning, but only because I'm sleepy. But I'm so grateful. No, I was, I couldn't sleep super comfortably being bit by that mosquito all night.
Yeah,
that was my
one
truth.
Mosquito, and I feel like normally when we find a nighttime mosquito, I'm
Sorry you
able
were
to,
sick.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying sorry you were sick, but keep going.
I'm able to find it and murder it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't.
It was an invisible mosquito. We ran out of coils.
And he just feasted on us all night.
He did. He bit us all night.
And normally when they feast like that, they end up getting like slow and lazy. He didn't do that.
No, he kept biting. He kept biting.
He kept biting.
Well, I'm hope you can talk now. But yeah. So I'm excited. We're gonna have our coffee. We're also excited at our growing audience. Like, we
Excited about
see
our
you.
growing audience. If this is the first time that you guys have tapped in, thank you so much
Oh.
for your support.
Yay, thanks for the subscribe, Muhammad. Sub dance. Thank you, Muhammad, for the subscribe.
You that boy, Mohammed.
Mohammed.
Moham bone.
So y'all are awesome.
So, mugs. Now it's time to wash.
I think I did
Wash the mugs.
a pre-rinse for you yesterday. I'll be using it to put the fire out, which the fire is next. I'm going to build a fire to do some serious firewood gathering, you guys. We both just been Jaystone's been focused so much on splitting wood. I need to be picking up fire wood to start, so we're getting there.
We just got so thrown off by the rain, y'all.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Season change. We used to be abundant with the dry firewood.
Right.
We didn't even have to think about it. Really.
I just would like go outside and pick up some and be like, yeah, I got it for us.
And now when it's dry, the last thing we're thinking about is collecting firewood.
Because we're so happy.
We're so happy that it's dry. LOL, shout out to all the off-grid creators doing fires.
Yes.
We see y'all.
We see y'all.
We see y'all getting wood delivered. There's nothing like a fire.
I gotta wait, y'all, for the kettle to finish. Because I want to sanitize the sponge before I rinse everything. So I let that kettle get nice and hot, as you guys know. So I'm just going to take just a brief intermission while the water boils. Ew. Just a brief intermission. We've got Addy setting up our fire. So we can have a nice, cozy, warm, rainy morning.
Just a small little fire.
It says it's going to get, I talk about with you guys how unpredictable Hawaii weather is. The news, or not news, but the weather app claims it's going to get to 78. Right now, I don't see that happening, honestly. But that's what they said was. They said it was going to happen for 2 hours it would be 78 and then immediately go right back down. So I'm just curious to see if the weather app knows what they're talking about, because they also told me it was going to only rain for an hour. Here it is 10:30. We still got rain, chat.
We still got rain.
We still got rain.
Yeah.
So who knows? They don't. And
they
I
definitely
either.
don't. And it's like we can get at some point one of those thermometers that are like mercury outdoor thermometers, so we can just look at what the weather is on our property.
For sure.
We talked about microclimates, if it's important,
Yeah, I feel like the car does a decent job until we get something better. The car feels more accurate than Apple, so that was meant to be as shady as sounding.
So what is the significance for you of knowing what the accurate temperature is in the current
I
moment?
think for me it's really just learning. I'm trying to learn our environment, because it's like next year I would want to go even harder with plants and with farming and everything. So for me it's just like really observing what the weather is like as much as possible. So that when we start farming and planting and growing, we just have as much of an understanding, or even if the understanding is it's completely unpredictable and you just need to do what you can, at least we have that understanding as opposed to nothing.
Yeah. But do you feel like if we got like a thermometer, then we can keep a log and it's like, this is the day, this was the weather conditions? Is that the
We
kind
could
of
do a thermometer,
historical record that you're
but I feel like
of?
we're doing it now with our lives. I say it on there because it's like it's Monday 70.
Really good point.
So that's why I give you guys the weather update. And also I feel like people don't know what it's like to live on an island, and I think part of the weather unpredictably is interesting.
It is.
So those are my reasons for it. That wood smells good. I feel like when it starts the day off raining, it just makes it a slower start.
Yeah, sorry for my part in slowing us down.
What are you talking? I don't even know what your part was. I feel like I was slow too. I avoided going to the bathroom because it was so wet outside.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's less appealing in the rain to get out of bed.
Yeah, for sure. It felt really cozy today.
Mm-hmm. But I'm starting to see some more animal activity, so I do feel like the rain could possibly be done. Da, 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 da. Yeah. So I'm just around. Nothing looks that different from yesterday, but also kind of does.
What from yesterday?
I said nothing looks that different from yesterday, but also kind of does.
I'm glad the flower is being rained on.
Me too. The sunflowers definitely look happy.
Oh, LOL. I meant the bag of flour that.
Oh, the pig, y'all. We bought a bag of flour for our soup, and I ended up not even needing this flour because it didn't need a roux. It was perfectly thick and hearty without. But I left that bag of flour up. I'm pretty sure wild pigs came in and ate that flour,
Mm-hmm.
and I found that so like, come on, guys. You know that flour wasn't good. Kettle's done. All right, kettle's done. So I can sanitize our sponge. I don't use my fingers anymore because that was not the smartest moment that I've had on this live stream. I now have a tool, an old designated to being the main holder for sanitizing the sponge. And look at that. That just goes in so nicely. And then I can just give it just the littlest, like, well, I can put it in the other eye and it'll fall around. I can pour it on this side. It's boiling hot water. So we use this sponge for our dishes. Wanting it to be clean.
Hello, Sopadada.
And then
Just getting this fire together.
also while that's dripping off,
What's up? Hit the thumbs up, y'all.
pour this into
Subscribe to the
coffee
channel.
press.
2 Women, 3 Acres.
Ugh, I love that rolling view. Gotta show it to you guys one time. Just pouring it in there. It's so nice. It just feels comforting, you know? Alright, so now we got our sponge. It's still pretty wet. It's not smoking anymore though. And then I can go wash the... It is smoking. Can you see it? You see the steam coming off of it?
It looks really hot.
It is hot.
Thanks for sanitizing the sponge.
My pleasure. It just needs a little help, you know? Okay, I'm gonna set you guys down. Energy is a little low, I won't lie. I feel
So
like
you
it's
haven't
all
had
this.
coffee yet.
I haven't had excuse me. Haven't had my coffee yet. You guys, make sure you guys give me a thumbs up. Make sure you like and subscribe. And if this is your first time tapping in, thank you so much for joining us this morning. All right. Addy, definitely, I can see the pre-rinse from yesterday. Okay. And then
I'm so glad.
yeah, no, it helps a lot.
Yeah. I just use them to put the fire out.
Uh-huh.
So it's, you know, like,
Close.
yeah, it flows. Okay.
This one's nice and clean.
Especially, I don't know if you've had any roach sightings in the coffee mugs, but it's just not fun.
No, I fortunately have not had a roach sighting in the coffee mug.
Yeah, that's
But I know roaches exist. I feel like, thankfully, you know, the truth is we don't keep that much food on the homestead currently. The only food that's kept on the homestead consistently is what grows on the trees.
yeah.
So I feel like when I'm so grateful for this Besides that
Yay.
marshmallow story I told you guys, I typically don't see roaches alive. I feel like sometimes in the outhouse area, I find them, but they're already dead because, you know, that's a heavy spray area for me. Because I spray the toilet, try not to get ate up by mosquitoes whenever I have to go. So I feel like pre-spraying the raid keeps it where the roaches can't thrive or be alive.
Yeah, I feel like when I find them in the coffee cup, it's like they died in the coffee. You know, they were so happy to
They
find
died in the coffee.
that coffee.
It's a
So
bleak
happy.
outlook for the roaches here on the homestead. I don't play with their asses. They got to go.
We haven't even made s'mores because they came out.
No, I told you
For the
guys about the
marshmallows.
s'mores. I told you guys about the s'mores. That was the craziest thing I ever did see. I had no idea that roaches were going to truly attack when we made those s'mores like that. So I don't even
Bonjour.
say roasted. That should have been a part of the spooky stories on Friday or Thursday, whatever day that was.
Yes, it should have been. Bonjour, Shahid Iqbal.
Parlez-vous français?
I love how global our audience is. It's really
fun that
cool.
you guys are so global.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like they're global because we're global. It's like we're literally, we
Global
joke
citizens.
about being on the back of Earth's head.
Yeah.
It's as global as you can get being in the middle of
Also,
nowhere.
can't forget, if you a day one Addy or edition with Addy fan, that's Addy INTL.
Right. That's so true.
The
Addy
first time I
INTL.
Cash apped her. It's Addy
INTL.
Thank you. Yeah.
Which I pronounce as Addy International. I've also heard Addy Intel.
I always knew it was Addy International. We've got just enough cream.
Addy International is still my artist name. You can find my artist musician YouTube channel on YouTube, Addy INTL. Why were you cash apping me? Do you remember?
Probably it was powerless. The thing. I'm not
Like
sure.
I bought you a drink and asked for a refund?
Probably. My boo don't play about that money.
LOL.
My boo don't play about that money. The money gets... Never mind. So let's give these a little stir. I'm not going to press the coffee yet because my heart doesn't feel like it's time.
Yeah, take all the time you need. Oh, hey, Catherine. What's up?
What's up?
You're Mexican, by the way. Hola.
Hola, hola, hola.
International in the house.
Alright. Letting the coffee press sit. Oh, I guess I can prep our oats. I'm not gonna pour the water just yet.
Thanks, Boo.
I wasn't gonna stay right here, Boo. I know your tripod now is moved.
It's okay.
Alright. Shout out to these people, this company. We're not sponsored, so I'm not gonna actually give them a shout out, but I do appreciate their biodegradable bowls. Alright, baby love. Do you want peaches or strawberries and cream? Peaches and cream, peaches
I'll
and
do
cream.
strawberry. I know you love the peaches and the blueberry.
Yeah, but there's enough for you to have whatever you want. There's a whole other pack of peach. We could both do peach if you want.
I'll do a peach.
Okay. Let's do peaches and creams.
Thank you.
Peaches and cream, peaches and cream. I'm a little lad who loves peaches and cream. But I don't think I'm ready for the oats yet. Coffee's still coffeeing. Let's wait just a few more minutes, chat. Can y'all remind me in like 3 minutes or 2, maybe 2 more minutes to go press the kofefe. the fire. It's crackling so nicely. A fire, I don't know why, but it just automatically brings peace.
It does.
It just brings peace and chill and warmth. Also, it sends the bugs away, which is what we appreciate about it.
Yes, because we don't have coils.
Yeah, we gotta go get quit. We gotta do a store run, honestly. We just haven't been. I feel like we enjoy not going to the store. So, this was a weekend. It was rest day. You know, on Sundays we rest. So, outside of going to get, like, food to eat in the moment, we didn't really do much. I just realized that was why.
No, we didn't.
And I'm glad we didn't. It's important to prioritize rest.
It is. And we went to the store, or we went to store places a lot. We just forgot. Ooh, something.
Some got you.
Yeah.
You think the fire bit you?
Not
fire.
Fire.
You guys think
fire.
the fire bit her? I'm just joking.
Yeah, a little piece
A little piece of.
popped off.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I don't know. But yeah, we did store stuff. We did the bare minimum.
Yeah.
We did the bare minimum. But what we have enough for is that first cup of coffee and oatmeal.
Which is huge.
Which is
A lot of times we don't have breakfast.
Thanks for tapping in, you guys. Can you guys make sure you hit the thumbs up button? Hit the thumbs up. Make sure you like the video and make sure you guys are subscribed. We go daily. We go live daily from our homestead.
2 hours a day.
I think this is episode 11 for me. If you haven't seen my previous episodes, make sure you go back, clock back in, tap back in.
And watch them all.
Watch them all.
And I believe this is episode 12 for me.
Yay.
So thanks y'all for tapping in. Thanks for liking the live. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for sending housewarming gifts. Linked in the comments.
Yeah, donate into the GoFundMe.
Donate to
bio.
GoFundMe.
Buying something from the Etsy store. You guys are going to the Etsy store and you're not buying anything.
Yes.
So let's change that.
Yes. So
help us get a sale this week.
Yes. Multiple sales. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up, you guys.
Thumbs up.
So what should be our topic today?
Well, let's look at the lace stuff.
Yes, we're going to chat, you guys. Again, hit the thumbs up. We're about to talk some real talk so more people can see the live.
Open.
And go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. We're out here.
Open sesame.
There is a poll. Can you build a fire? And right now, it's 100% no. One vote. Go ahead and hit the poll and let us know.
This is a juicy one.
Oh,
okay.
2.
So they got what we argue about off-grid or how we built a life together with almost no money.
Which one do you think? Both of them are great. But I feel like 5 is unrelatable because we definitely needed to have money.
Right.
To buy a 3-acre homestead. So we could talk about what we argue about off-grid. I'm sure a lot of, yay, Ma Gang in the house.
My gang.
Hey, Leah, what's up, girl? But if those are the 2 options, I picked that one. But we could also just talk about.
There's more options.
Yeah, let's keep going.
Because I feel like.
How's it going, girl?
While I'd be willing to do that topic, I think we need to have a talk before we talk about it. A day in our off-grid life. We probably wouldn't have talked about it. Really good that. Off-grid talk peace, love, and freedom.
You pick.
Me pick?
Yeah.
That's
I'm good.
hard.
Oh, love you, Leah. We are doing great. How's PA, girl?
I hope I have sound.
Thanks for voting, you guys.
This whole time, and y'all ain't tell me there wasn't no sound.
I mean, the car's off, right?
It was, but it had Bluetooth like still connected to the car, which I never even was on the car.
I know.
Just turned the Bluetooth off, but I don't think it is a problem.
Thank you. I'm glad PA's nice. It's the holiday
Can
season.
somebody who's watching let me know if there's sound? Can you guys let me know you hear me?
We're
Let me
about to
know,
have some
please.
coffee, pick a topic to discuss over
Oh
coffee.
yeah, I gotta pick a topic.
We hope that
Hard,
you've
y'all.
We hope you guys have been enjoying the daily live streams. We appreciate the thumbs up. We appreciate the votes. Right now, 67% say they can build a fire. So, yes. Let's see how it goes for the rest of the trip or the live stream. We've been live streaming for 2 hours a day. We're just crossed the 30-minute mark. So we got another hour and a half. So grab a snack, sit back, and relax because we're going to get into a juicy off-grid topic, something that's about living off-grid in Hawaii or something that's about being a married couple. So everything.
So it says things no one tells you about off-grid marriage. The truth you learned the hard way. I don't know. I feel like I want you to pick. It's hard for me to pick.
So I did pick, but
Which one did you pick?
the one that you said we need to have a conversation.
Oh, well then
before.
we can do that one. We don't have to have a conversation. Let's do that one. All right, y'all. We picked
Things we fight about off grid. So
things we talked about off-grid.
let's lay the ground rules out now on live.
Right.
Let's not talk about any specific people in our life.
No,
Let's not talk about anything that you know is a secret. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Like,
I'm not trying to air out your dirty laundry, but I love you.
No, I know, but you said we need to have a conversation first. So I'm just preemptively talking about any boundaries. Do you have any boundaries?
I mean, I think like you said, no talking about family members. And nothing, we don't want to hurt each other's feelings, so I think stuff like that.
Okay. All right. So yeah. So I can start if you would like. I would say we talked about this yesterday. One of the most important things about off-grid is working together. Mm-hmm. And wifey and I have been working together since we got married, but something that always comes up is our different attitudes towards planning and scheduling.
Yes.
So these aren't like screaming match arguments.
No.
But there's definitely tension. I'm like, let's do the schedule. Let's do every day this week, and let's agree on what we're going to do every day this week. Mm-hmm. And then I think that my job is to motivate us to stick to the schedule. And I wake up and I'm like, yeah, it's laundry day, or it's trash day, or it's library day, or it's content day. And whereas Jay Snow is more of an air sign, and it's more like it has to also feel good. It doesn't matter if it's what we said we were going to do. There needs to be room for flexibility. Mm-hmm. And that was, we just have a different approach. Mm-hmm. And I've had to learn more about how to be more, go with the flow, how to be more flexible. And you can share more about what you've learned.
I've learned how important it is for us to make sure that we get things done, that we stick to the schedule or stick to a schedule. And I feel like, we both did our own version of scheduling apart, right? But I feel like coming together in the marriage, it's like we just had to really find the vibe with each other and find compromise. I think is really what it becomes. We had to find compromise with each other because it's okay to be different. But there are certain things that we have to get done, and there are certain things that are time sensitive or need to be done in a timely fashion for whatever reason. You know what I mean? So for me, it's like distinguishing between those two. And then I feel like it's not that I don't want to stick to the schedules every single day. The schedule can be so valuable. I wish sometimes I was a hardcore schedule follower. But I feel like sometimes I just know that we overbook ourselves. We overschedule. And then it's like, by midweek or Thursday, I'm exhausted and I just can't even show up, you know what I mean, in a pleasant mood. So I have to account for what feels like flow, but also account for what is not a non-negotiable, what is a non-negotiable time and scheduling wise, because there just are some.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I feel like, you know, I think sometimes it's like when I want to respond, oh, you're in timeout, HG. You're just completely inappropriate. And I think the max is 24 hours. And I did that. But, so I feel like sometimes, like, I hear Jay Snow, my wife, be like really excited about something, you know? And so I'm like, and I want her to know that I'm excited about it too. And my response is like, well, let's make a plan for it. Where in that moment she may just be excited, you know, but I never want to be the reason why she doesn't do it, you know, because I know I can have things that I'm passionate about wanting to do. And so for me, it's like if I hear her be excited about something, I'm immediately like, so when do you want to do it? You know what I mean? Like, let's take away all the barriers. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And I don't know if that's exactly what she wants from me other than just to be excited. But because I'm like such a scheduler, such a doer, I'm like, well, let's do it, you know, when she just wanted to be excited about it in that moment.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I would definitely agree, which I feel like ends up helping us work on communication because I can tell her what I need, you know what I mean? And Addie's really receptive, but then it's like while that same thing can cause arguments, I also really love that about Addie. I love that she wants to make sure I, you know, get my needs met, get my desires met, and if there's anything she can do about it, she's gonna help me get whatever I want, which is incredibly invaluable in a person. You know, it's a really beautiful part and style of her love language. So I feel like,
Thank you.
yeah, no, it's true. So just getting the understanding for each other, you know.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like, you know, coming from being like a tech program manager, product manager, it's all about getting your team to like stay on the roadmap, stay on the schedule, and it never happens, you know.
Yeah.
But like my job is my value, and my like performance review is all about how effective was I at getting people to stick to the roadmap. And also being the person telling the people who are waiting for stuff why it's not happening,
Right.
but not actively throwing the engineers over the bus. So it was just kind of a skill set that I would say like I naturally had. I had a job where it was my job to do that, but it doesn't translate in a marriage, even if that's what it seems to call for. Like I think about when we're about to buy this homestead and it was like overwhelming and it was, you know, in terms of like there's so much work to be done. And I'm like, that's okay, we can go on agile and like let's do this. I guarantee you if we just do our capacity and you know, which is the hardest part because I would say both of us overschedule. But like I have the 3 things a day, you know what I mean, and that comes up a lot. But it's easy to commit to an overschedule.
And I would say too, I feel like going into like scheduling, I do think like you have better like long-term like stamina than I do, whereas I'm like, let's crank this to-do list out. Bang, 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 bang. And then I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So that just doesn't work.
Yeah. So we do have our agile. We do shout out to Trello. Please sponsor us. But it doesn't need to be. We don't have a scrum master. If you know, we don't have someone keeping everyone on track. We just check in every day. But I feel like all the tension comes from my fear that one day she's gonna look at me and be like, well, we were supposed to do this and you didn't do this, or you didn't show up for this, or you didn't prioritize this, you know. And so that's what I just be like proactively trying to avoid.
Yeah. No, I definitely get it. I feel like, you know, I don't think couples talk about enough how hard it is to like align and set schedules, honestly. Because I feel like you end up doing it with the kids, but the kids are these autonomous beings that kind of dictate their own schedule that you have to show up for.
Yeah.
But it's a thing even before you have kids. It's a thing in just living in harmony together. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because even if it's not something that we need to do together, it's like also things scheduling time for things that are one-on-one or feel like one-on-one or feel like I just want to do things for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like as women, we both have like a beauty regimen. You know what I mean? And it's like, I need time to go do that.
Mhm. Yeah, and like and that was a challenge too, you know, like I'm gonna dermaplane today, and we had to have conversations. We like to take showers at different times a day. We like to brush our teeth at different times per day. Nothing's on a set schedule. When we were both working, you had to be work way earlier than me.
Yeah.
When I was working, um, obviously our schedules were different. So I think you make a really good point that people don't talk about it enough, and that they do it with kids, but I don't know if they do it as adults. What I do see as adults is they each have their own car.
Yep.
They each go to their own workplace or to their own home office. They may agree on a time for dinner, which may or may not be stuck to the schedule.
Yep.
And they may have a date night. Like we have a date night. But not too much more than that. Or just knowing oh yeah, it's football.
So and so's picking up so and so.
Well, I was actually thinking so and so's going to be watching the game.
Right, yeah.
Or it's I remember in previous relationships, it was Project Runway was coming on, and it's it doesn't matter what's going on. I'm watching Project Runway.
Yeah.
So but now with streaming, there aren't, it's kind of like a bittersweet thing, because now really we do have complete control over our schedules, especially off grid.
Especially off grid, and I feel like that kind of took us a minute to realize that we were on our own schedule. I speak for myself. I think Addy definitely realized it before I did, because she kept reminding me in the most gentle of ways. But I'm like, we got to get this done. I want to get it done by this time, and da-da-da-da-da. And I feel like that was where we both were able to find compromise, because it's like, the truth is, when you start these projects off grid, and when you rebuild and renovate and do all of these different things that we're doing every day, it's like you think you're going to just do this one small step, and then now you can be unblocked for all of these other steps. But no, it's like, for example, we were thinking about doing syrups, right? Making syrups from the homestead. And so it's like, okay, well, we just need to go get the stuff to make the syrups and stuff. And it's like, no. You got to do paperwork. You need to go to these offices. You got to do all this other stuff before you can even start on the syrup. So it's like, what is one big project turns into 20 smaller tasks before you can even begin the project. So you have this time schedule that you want to keep, because you want to get those syrups on the market by the first of the month. But that's just not going to happen, because there's so many things outside of our control.
It's so true. Another thing is moving out all this stuff that the previous owner left in the cabin. We can't, the trash receptacle places only accept one truckload per day. So it's I'm sure we thought in our heads we were going to bang out clearing the cabin all in one day, and I'm glad it didn't, because that would have been a lot on our backs. But we got stopped, you know, and then it's oh, now we can only max, hit up a certain amount of places.
Yeah.
Or we can only do so many truckloads of trash dumping. So we literally have to be on someone else's schedule, and it's we've had the energy today, but we can't maximize it because we're on someone else's schedule.
Yeah.
Or same with the library, we love going to the library, but the schedules are just so inconsistent that when we're ready to go to the library.
Hawai'i library schedules are a whole beast of another color, because it's random, unpredictable. I'm used to just basic Monday through Friday. I don't think I've ever even had to worry about the library having a lunch break. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have one, but they close for their lunch break here in Hawaii. And I'm grateful. No complaints. I want everybody to have the time they did. I believe in work-life balance.
Right.
So I am not, saying anything against it, but it is new. It's an adjustment, and it will interrupt. Like, I feel like Addy and I are both. I mean, on some level, we can both be kind of nerdy. So it's like we can go to the library and like nerd out, work for like 6 or 7 hours. You know what I mean? And they don't always have a schedule that's conducive to that. You have to stop and
Pretty
start
much
again.
never, yeah.
So.
They force you to have a lunch break, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's our mainland energy of hustle, grind, crank out just doesn't flow on island time.
And I'm grateful for that because I feel like that same energy is what led to burnout, what makes us tired and not want to stick to things or stick to what we were doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it ends up being an advantage. But it's an adjustment, and it has definitely caused an argument or two, or just like discomfort and like, because I feel like something else that caused with the arguments is like I don't want to be the person who's like, I'm sorry, Abby, I don't feel like this crap today. You know what I mean? So that carries its own like emotional guilt. You know what I mean? Because it's like I want to be able to show up the way that we said I was going to show up, and I made that schedule, but I'm checking in with my body, with my mind, with my spirit, and I'm just not where I feel like I need to be for that,
Yeah. I think it also reveals stuff that aren't actually priorities. Heart, yay, Ma Gang in the house.
What's up, my gang?
God bless you too. Thanks for the click support. So basically, like, I think it reveals stuff that was never that important in the first place. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I remember. Have you ever do you remember being a kid watching those craft shows and they show you how to make it at home?
Yeah.
And I remember I was gonna do this either this ceramic or paper mache thing, and I was so excited. I wake up that morning, I'm like, yay, it's time to do the ceramics. And I think it was Grandma who was like, I'm sorry, we're just not doing that. You know what I mean? I can't think of anything in our life where we were like, we prioritize this, and I wake up, I'm like, I can't believe it's this day, and we're gonna do this day, this activity, and you're like, I don't want to do it. It's never been that.
Yeah.
It's literally never been that. So it was just something that we said was important on the planning day, but it wasn't actually anything that either of us were excited about, which is why it never happened.
Yeah. No, and I think that's so true. Because I feel like, obviously, if I know it means something to you, I'm not going to cancel it. You know what I mean? But I feel like they're just certain things. It's just kind of like, I don't, like we said, you do that mind, body, spirit check-in. It's like, actually, I don't think I'm into that right now like I thought I was.
Yeah. I feel like, for me, it's like I'm never devastated when you say no. It just makes me, think, wow, we really need to change how we plan. Like, we need to do it morning by morning as opposed to week by week. Because we have no prediction. Like, I remember, we got in a fight recently about hanging clothes.
Oh, yeah.
I was just ready, like it's wet now, so we've been hanging our clothes in random places to dry so we don't put, wet jean bell bottoms into the laundry bag. So it's like, now I'm just like, we have a hanging rack. It's like, I just want to, put some stuff on the hanger. And Jay Snow was like, okay, but we just need to, scrub that area. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but, if we don't, because scrubbing the area requires it's not raining, which, as you can see, is a constant thing, and it absolutely did end up raining that night. Some things, you can't schedule.
And I feel like that was a good example because Addy was like, well, I'm just saying if it doesn't happen tonight. And I'm like, but it's going to happen tonight because I'm prioritizing it tonight. And it's like, there's just so many things that were completely out of my control and prioritizing it today.
Yeah.
So it's like, you want to just argue. I feel like my favorite thing to remember when we're in our arguments that I definitely learned from Addition with Addy is it's like, do you want to be right or do you want to be together? So sometimes you just have to you gotta choose your battles, and everybody deserves their voice and their opinion and what they feel important to be heard, you know? So.
Yeah. But just so you know, I'm not like measuring your success by how many tasks you complete per day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just wanting to be a good planner with you,
Yeah.
and just make sure we have shared goals.
Right.
And make sure, like, I mean, I can think about a couple things that you've expressed wanting to do, like in terms of like the shower reno, the cabin scrub down, you know, like, and I'm not like judging you if we don't do it. But I feel like my job as a partner is to hear you express these things and say and prioritize them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate it, you know, and I feel like it works. You know, I think when we first got together, it was a lot harder. But I feel like we had so much practice before we were off grid, you know, especially I feel like, you know, believing, I personally, and I think Addy does too, but I'll let her speak on that. I believe that everything that's going in your life prior to this specific moment has been preparing you for this specific moment. And I feel like so many things that happened in Thailand and between coming home and staying with our family, you know, I think that really taught us and helped us to prioritize and understand the importance of like working together, and how if we're going to be married, there's no way around that. You know what I mean? So I think all of that stuff, while it was hard in the moment, it made it to where when we got to our homestead, we could show up in a way for each other that we had never shown up in a way for each other. It was an amount of trust, an amount of communication, an amount of like commitment, right? Because we had to commit to this property and this plan that we're on. You know what I mean? So, long story short, we just got to really show up in a completely different way by the time that we got here. Because everything that we were trying to figure out before, it's caused us to discuss and talk and figure out what was important to us.
Well, that was my one. You can pick another one.
What do we argue about? I mean, I feel like it's much better now, but I feel like I have a harder time staying on budget than Addy sometimes. I think like it's interesting because I feel like if it's something really big, then I can see sometimes Addy struggle with budgeting, you know, but from a day to day, I feel like every day I'm like, well, it's just $1 or $2 over. And Addy's like, you know, I know that, love, but that adds up, you know. But at the end of the 7 days, if we went over $2 every day, now we're over budget $15. And our budget matters now in a way that it's always mattered. We've always prioritized budgeting. And I think that's another thing that, go ahead, Ruth.
But it does matter now more than ever. Shout out to the GoFundMe, because we put most of our assets in this house. Like, we cashed out and bought a house and bought a truck, you know, so we're working with less cash than we're used to, even though our net worth is the same.
Right. So I feel like another thing, you know, another area where everything before has helped us get to this area and this point to be able to function in a way that we haven't been able to function in before. But yeah, I would say that's something we argue over. But, you know, I feel like it took me a while, but I've come around in a way that we argue about that much less, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we're forced to in some ways. And it's also like, I think at the time it was like we had really big savings goals. Like earlier in our career or our marriage, we had student loans to pay off. We had vacations to save for. We had a honeymoon to save for. All really big expenses. And, you know, those $15 or whatever, like, you know, for me is like making the plan and being like, we're going to get here by X date. And it's like that requires, it's based on the numbers of us sticking to the plan that we created. And I feel like that's what I I feel like that's why it was like hard, you know, because
Yes.
it's like it's not like I'm imposing this budget. We decided together
What we
what
wanted.
the what the goals were, and we
Mhm.
decided together what our budget was,
Mhm.
and you know, so now it's kind of like, you know, it's like, do
I'm
we
trying
still
to
care
go
about
against
these
these
goals?
things.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And it's
yeah.
like I don't know where, you know, we have enough money for based on this plan we made, but if we
Mhm.
go off the plan, we're not going to have enough money. And I didn't
Mhm.
want to be, again, avoiding being like, I know we said we were going to get this,
Yeah.
but I was quiet the whole time and let us
Mhm.
not
Have enough.
have enough for
And now
this.
I'm at
And
the
now
register
you're
like, we not getting this?
exactly. That's what I was always just trying to avoid.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like being like, well, why? How could you let this happen? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? And it's like, um, so stuff like that.
Mhm.
We made very intense, time-driven, deadline-driven financial goals.
Mhm.
You know, whereas if it was more like, if it wasn't so intense, I don't think I would have had to have been intense.
Yeah.
And I was also like, you know, why don't we just increase the budget if you want to spend more? You know, and but I understand that maybe your own process, you know, and I'm like, but if this is something that you know you regularly want to spend an extra $100 a month on, let's just change it and
Yeah.
change everything. But I think, I don't know, that wasn't easy to do, and I can't imagine it would be easy for anyone to do, but like, but that's the shared budget, like kind of just like our time and budgeting our time with the schedules. The budget is a complete creation of us.
Yeah.
And I think maybe it was a challenge for Jay Snow to, you know, be, you know, just more of an advocate for increasing budgets in certain areas. Or
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think for me, it was like I had to learn that because I think when we talk about budget, when we first got married, what's up, guys?
Hey, Kazan.
When we first got married, talking about budget, Addy had a completely different and thorough understanding of a budget that might as well have been a foreign language to me. You know what I mean? I was just not even operating on a budget, and I also always carried the understanding that a budget meant like trying to save. Like it's kind of makes me think of like diet. Diet doesn't actually mean like a diet in order to lose weight. Your diet is just what you eat. You know what I mean? So it's honestly not grammatically correct for people to say I'm on a diet, but everybody knows.
No.
Oh my God!
I was just trying to dry my shoes out. Whew.
Oh no!
Oh, look at this! Look at this! Look what happened to my shoes. It's okay. They were $20, and this weather isn't even calling for shoes like this anymore. But it's sad. I burnt my shoes in the fire. So frustrating. No.
Oh no!
I know. I was
I'm
just.
so sorry.
It's okay. You know, we have.
I know what you were doing.
You were
It's
just moisture.
wet.
Yeah.
No.
The
My
struggle is
God.
real. But sorry. Keep going. What you were about to say.
Girl, I don't even remember what I was
know.
talking
I know.
about. No, but like you said, they're only $20, so moving on. But
It's a new month.
it's a new month. So anyway, though, like I think I understood budget to mean not spending money or spending a little bit of money, just like it's understood when you say you're on a diet, like you're trying to lose weight. I thought it meant, you know, our pockets were trying to lose weight, and so I feel like only after like literal years of patience and Addy talking to me did I realize that no, the budget just means we know exactly how much we're spending month to month, and if that changes, it just needs to be reflected in the budget. It's not punitive, or it doesn't mean we're failing at budget or anything like that. It just simply means it's not in the budget, you know? And I think that took me a really long time to be able to budget alongside you, because it felt like, oh, well, I'm the reason the budget's going up. You know what I mean? Even if that wasn't true, I think I took it on. Like I'm the reason the budget's going up, and that's a problem. And it was just really hard to receive that the budget changing was never a problem, but it was keeping the budget honest and a true reflection of what we were spending and needing. That was the main goal and priority.
Yeah, I think your analogy with the diet is so true, and that's why we changed budget meeting to spending party.
Mm-hmm.
Which shout out to Ramit,
Mm-hmm.
and his podcast. Like it
Mm-hmm.
really helps,
Mm-hmm.
and couples talk about money.
Mm-hmm. It
Um,
helped us significantly.
and it's hard because like there is always a impact, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like, you know, it's like increasing a line item means decreasing or increasing the amount of time to reach whatever long-term goal we have.
Mm-hmm.
But that is okay if it's pushed back a month or a year or 5 years. Like, it's our life.
Yeah.
We have our whole lives together. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
It's just like, you know, and I feel like that's what with money, it's like people, it's just hard, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
it's sacrificing something today so you can get something amazing a year from now. And I
Mm-hmm.
think people want something amazing today and still have something amazing a year from now, and not
Mm-hmm.
want the math to have an impact.
Mm-hmm.
And that usually comes from needing to increase your income,
Mm-hmm.
which to me is just a lot more pressure than decreasing spending that isn't important.
Mm-hmm.
But and also like just requires a lot more. You know what I mean? And it's
Mm-hmm.
like our income did increase over our marriage, and like we were able to achieve all of our goals. We went on all the vacations we were supposed to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We went to all the shows and concerts and
Mm-hmm.
festivals that we were supposed to go to.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to find rentals and Airbnbs for places that we liked. You know, we were eating the food that we wanted. You know what I mean? And achieving our goals.
Mm-hmm.
But really because we were on a spending plan.
We were on a spending
We were
plan.
on a aligned spending plan.
Yep.
And
And not only were we on an aligned spending plan, I think it's easy for other people not to see, because when we were doing our bigger things, we were doing our bigger things, but we did a lot of day to day sacrifice. You know what I mean? And it's not like we weren't, but I just mean it was intentional planning and intentional things that we did not do and still do not do in order to make sure that we can prioritize the things that we've aligned and agreed are a priority for us, our marriage, our happiness, our continued love, happiness, and joy together.
mm-hmm. You know, I feel like, do you feel comfortable talking about like the furniture?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like a great example of this was in terms of budgets and spending plans not being straightforward. It's like we had specifically requested a housewarming gift for furniture,
Mm-hmm.
and we got the money for that.
Mm-hmm.
But and that was basically a dedicated line item for furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And that was supposed to solve our furniture problem. But
Mm-hmm.
as you guys know, we still do not have furniture. And it was
Mm-hmm.
like, it wasn't what really, you know, we may have just wanted more of a cushion
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to an actual seat cushion.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that was, you know, in some ways it was hard, I think, for both of us to get there
Mm-hmm.
and to admit that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to, you know, write down, it's like until we have this certain amount in savings, things like furniture don't feel
Safe
feel safe to buy, because the feeling of that cushion feels better than
Mm-hmm.
the feeling of furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something that, like, you know, definitely made me know that Jay Snow was looking at money and finance in a more holistic way,
Mm-hmm.
because we would have been fine if we got the furniture. And I feel like the universe kind of intervened, because the furniture piece that we were supposed to get was $200, which is very different from the furniture that we had to choose from by the time we got the money for the furniture. It was just a much higher price point. What we really wanted was, and we didn't, there was resistance to even getting that $200 sectional, you know, when we had the money to get it, you know what I mean? And so for whatever it is, we just weren't spiritually ready for furniture.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that has
Because I
nothing
feel
to do with
like
the budget.
really and truly with that furniture, we could have just got that furniture the night we saw it.
We could have.
But we didn't want it. We did, for whatever reason. And I think it's more than one. I don't think it is one specific reason why we weren't able to get that furniture. Because the other part of it was we didn't love it. You know what I mean? But we knew we needed it and we knew it was in our budget and we also still didn't get it. So
Yeah. And which, again, I feel like shows that we never really needed it in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I do believe that, you know, we, especially as a conscious spiritual couple, you know, if we do the things that we want to do and we don't do the things that we don't feel are a priority.
Yeah.
And it's like, while it would have been nice to have that sectional, we didn't have a clear place that we were going to put it. It was huge, you know, it had to go in a huge place. And we didn't even know where we would want to be sitting comfortably in that sectional at that point in time.
And we also have to acknowledge too, like, this is the most cleared out that the cabin has been. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like once we finally get everything out, but you guys have been inside the cabin whether you realize it or not via live stream.
Yeah.
But, you know, we can do a full, like, well, we did a virtual housewarming too. Go check out that video.
Yes, featured video.
When it is even more cleared out, like even in the bottom area, like I know that we'll show it to you guys, but what, as far as the furniture goes, like, it was for me personally, it was nearly impossible to even figure out a decor plan, which I love decor. I love home decor, specifically like getting our space together. You know, that's one of my things, what I love doing. But there was just so much stuff and everything else. I couldn't even really picture what I wanted it to look like for us.
Right.
You know, so it's like I couldn't even decide on furniture because there was just so many things still in the way.
Yeah. And I feel like that was okay. And I feel like, you know, Rat Race, Matrix says we need to have furniture. And it's like, well, we're moving at our own pace. It's not because we don't believe we deserve furniture.
Right.
We just need to make this house, this cabin, feel more like ours to even know what furniture we need, want to put where. And, you know what I mean?
I know exactly.
It just felt like something that we felt like we needed to do. But, and it's like, we still didn't even know. While we were aware that molding could happen, we haven't fully seen it, you know. Now it's like I look at our recliner chairs.
Yeah.
These are great for the beach or whatever, but like what we really need are those fully plastic reclining chairs.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it's just, and I feel like sometimes something we do fight about is like where, you know, I've found a lot of truth to like being on a homestead. You kind of need to observe for the first year to even know what you want or need. And sometimes, you know, I don't know if that's actually how Jay Snow feels, that it means it's never going to happen. You know what I mean? When it's just like, we don't even know what, you know, we fully need for real, but some things we do know, you know, and so it's like, let's just focus on those things and everything will eventually fall into place and time will naturally go by. But it's, you know, it's challenging.
It's challenging and it's also just a learning curve. You know, I feel like anytime we have like those deep arguments, like I think the moment where I've realized that we're on the path to reconnection and we're having grace for each other again is when it's like, well, you know, it's like, well, it's my first time. And then it's like, it's Addy's first time too. You know what I mean? It's our first time navigating something like this as a married couple. It's our first time being married. It's our first time. I haven't shared a budget with any of my previous relationships. I feel like if you're in a relationship, money obviously comes into play and there are a few conversations. But the way Addy and I have merged and do things financially, I've never done that with anybody else. And in the best way, wouldn't want to, because it's honestly very intimate. You know what I mean? So,
and it was a choice. It was a choice. It wasn't a requirement in our marriage for me that we had to do it that way. It just meant something different that would have a huge impact on our marriage. And, you know, Jay Snow made that choice, you know, not knowing what that would look like exactly, but just like wanting to have, you know, preferring to have that merge, which I was grateful for.
Preferring to have that merge, and then also it was very much me acknowledging that I was with somebody who was better at managing money than I was. You know what I mean? I feel like I am okay. Or I was one way before I met Addy, and that was okay. I had what I needed to have. I wasn't living at home. I had, you know, I had things what I needed, but the depth that Addy understood. I mean, Addy's a financial expert. Additionally, Addy's a financial expert, whereas
Hey.
I was just kind of bopping around and learning as I went. You know what I mean? So for me, it was very much like making that choice. Like, well, this person obviously has plenty of evidence and everything to know what is being backed up. And also shout out to my mom for giving me good love and marriage advice. My mom straight up was like, "You need to listen to that girl." And I was like, "Okay."
When was it? Was it after wedding dress?
It
Because
was.
I was very much talking about the budget.
It for me. It was when we decided to do one bank account.
So after we got married or before?
Probably after we got married, and you told me I needed to deposit my check into our joint bank account, and I was like, "Huh? Why would I do that? That's my money."
Oh well, and it was like, and I'm like, but this is what I done told you.
Yeah, no, and then
you know,
I would talk to my mom about it, and I was like, I mean, I don't know, is she tripping? And my mom was like, no, she's not tripping, and you need to listen to her, and you need to work with her. And I was like, ugh. But I listened, so thanks, Mom, and the rest is history. So
yeah, thanks, Mom, because I feel like one of the first things we did was to give Mom a check after we got married, and I feel like, you know what I mean, and that's all you really need. You know what I mean? It was just like, and I feel like I understand like the fear of a joint bank account.
Shout out to Mom. Allie said, "Nah, it's true. Mom looked out."
Because it's like I too had the fear. Come on, like of course I was scared to put your name on all of my accounts too. You know, but it's like now we both have our name on our accounts. Nothing can happen without each other knowing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like my check is going into an account that your name is on. You know why?
I mean, I feel like now it made all of the most perfect sense, and I would tell anybody, you know, shout out to you, Allie, about to get married. This is how we do our finances, and it really works for us. And it is scary, and it is a commitment, but that's what marriage is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And Addy needed buy-in that I wasn't gonna fuck off on the money. You know what I mean? And I think we both did. It's just that Addy immediately came no all business and no BS about money, where I was just kind of like, so I'm not going to Tory Burch next week.
And it's like, and I feel like, and that's where the budget came in. It's like you can.
Yeah.
You could have a Tory Burch line item. Shout out to Tory Burch.
Right.
And say that, and because we did, while it wasn't Tory Burch, you had sizable line items that were just for you.
I did.
In our bank account.
No, Addy was completely fair with the budget. And that's why I'm saying now it was the best decision for us to make. But for somebody who has never seen anything like that, because I feel like while my parents have been together and they do finances together, they still don't do finances like you knew you wanted to do finances early in our marriage. So it was a really big, like, I ain't never heard of this. You know?
No, for sure. And I want to add some color as to why I was showing up so intensely. So, but you know, before marriage, I was preparing for marriage, and I didn't know that like getting my finances together was part of preparing for marriage. But I also knew nobody wanted to marry a brokey, you know. So
brokey.
Yeah, I wanted to be stable, and it's like you need to like be someone. You need to be the person that the person you wants to marry, you know. So I took that really seriously, and you know, was really focused on paying off my student loan, saving my nest egg, contributing to retirement, you know, being due diligent, especially because they say, like, it's so much easier to do that stuff single in the first place, you know, because you're not having to manage that with someone else. So it's like maximizing your single time to build yourself up to be prepared to have a foundation for a marriage. Let's not forget, I'm half Nigerian. Let's not forget I'm a Taurus, you know, and I while dowry isn't a part of my culture specifically, like my mom doesn't talk to me about dowry or anything like that. I'm sure like intuitively I had to know, I had to be prepared for that, like because that's part of marriage in the African continent. It's also a big part of marriage in the Indian continent or country, you know what I mean? So it's just like you can't just be expecting people to marry you with no money. You know what I mean? Like, or for me, or you can't ask somebody, and that's why you need to have a ring. And shout out to Allie, like you were at our wedding, our vows. It's like people. I didn't know why rings were exchanged, and they specifically said because they have rings
it's
expensive.
A reflection of your value that
exactly
you place on this love and commitment.
So as the person who proposed, and I guess I intuitively knew that, I was building my financial foundation for a really long time. But I feel like as usual, I'm extreme. And then I discovered the Ramit podcast, which really helped me understand that, like, it has, you can't be, like, I could be extreme frugal, you know what I mean? When you need to have balance and all of that. But what I knew for sure was that the number one reason marriages fail is due to money fights and money problems. And if you don't trust your partner to combine your finances with, why are you getting married in the first place if you don't want to combine your finances? Second of all, if you don't trust your partner to go combine your finances with, why in the world are you marrying them? So it literally forces you to put money where your mouth is. Like, if you're doing a marriage and you're planning to have your finances separate, it means you don't trust your partner, and I don't think you should be getting married at that point in time until you can trust them. If you don't trust them because you feel like they're a frivolous spender, you need to communicate that and address that. If they're a gambling addict, you need to get them into some kind of recovery program. You can't just be like
spiritual faith.
Exactly. You can't just...
You have to address those things.
You have to address the issue. You can't just say, well, I love everything else except how you spend money. Because money is the energetic, it's literally a physical manifestation of our life force energy. And where someone spends their money is where they are giving themselves to the world. So you can't separate that from them as a person. You know what I mean?
Dropping words of wisdom over here.
Yeah, you can't do that, you know?
You can, but it's going to work out the way that we know divorce.
Yeah, it's just not going to work long term. So, I gave, do you mind if I share the choice that I gave? Because I heard wifey out before we got engaged, and she's like, I don't want to do this. You know what I mean? Like, I remember after we got engaged, and I was like, okay, well, let's sit down, let's look at our credit reports, let's look at our bank accounts, let's see where we're at. And I'm sure that was a really intense experience for her. But, I had just been talking about money for years. And when she expressed hesitation on combining and merging, and I'm like, well, that's fine, but I'm kind of going against all my principles here because I know that that's not how a healthy marriage works in any way. But I would be willing to do finances separately from you if we get a prenup. And if the prenup wasn't because, I don't trust her and I'm protecting my assets from her, we're not doing money together.
Yeah.
So why would, that's
why would it matter?
Why would it matter? Exactly. So, and I feel like, I guess, Jason talked to her family and all that stuff. We ended up not doing a prenup, but we ended up also agreeing to combine our finances. But that was a choice, and it was an ultimatum because it was incredibly serious. Like, I'm being passionate and serious about this because I care about you guys, and I care about your future marriages, your current marriages. You cannot have a union with someone if you're not united financially.
Yeah. No, I feel like, and it really has added a layer that I didn't realize even would have importance. You know what I mean? I feel like, you can get upset about it, but shout out to Dave Ramsey. He is our financial beacon,
Yes. Hey, oh, is that Jalila? Hey, Leela, what's up, Jalila? Girl?
No, Dave Ramsey is our financial beacon, and Total Money Makeover, I recommend to you and Doe, Allie, because you just, like Addy said, you have to be willing to put your money where your mouth is, and my favorite thing that he said is like, I have several quotes from that book that really, changed my perception of money, but the main one is, if you want to live and give like no one else, you have to live and give like no one else. You know what I mean? Live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
Yeah.
Um, so, I had to really decide what was important. And I feel like because Addie's so intelligent and she was well researched, and it's like, and I also came from my own familial background and know that, I mean, I feel like if you live with your parents, even for a little bit, you've heard them fight about money at least one time. Even if it's like, well, we don't need to go to KFC tonight. We need to go to have cereal tonight or something. And
Right.
you know what I mean?
Gruel.
Gruel. Yeah. So it's like, I had definitely heard my parents fight about finances. I would go ahead and say that that's probably one of the main things that they have to work at as a couple. You know what I mean? Because it's constant work, it's constant practice. So, like I said, I had to acknowledge that there was somebody who I was happened to be with, and frankly, had prayed for somebody who was going to be able to help me with this, because I knew that there was a lot I didn't know. And we talk about too, like, I feel like what I'm good at with money is the spiritual component. I'm going to remind us to pray. I'm going to remind us to do our spiritual work and to communicate with the universe and all of that stuff. And Addy is earthly. Addy is grounded. Addy's going to remind us, bitch, we ain't got that. You need to pick a cheaper one. And she would never talk to me like that. You know what I mean? But she's going to remind me that we have all of these other things that we said we wanted, Julian. If you say you want to do all of those things, like we sat there and said, and then you can't, do this. And it's like understanding, like, well, we sat down and decided on that together. So one, I'm being selfish because Addy is looking forward to what we sat down and planned together. And I'm thinking like, well, I want this and I want to do this. And that's not a way to be, you know what I mean? After we've already made a plan. So, it was a learning process, a learning curve, but where we are right now in our marriage, I'm eternally grateful because, and I was also eternally grateful that, like, we literally started that financial work together, like, the night we got, or the day we got back from our honeymoon. Like,
Yeah.
we literally listened to Total Money Makeover on the way home.
Yep, we
from
sure did.
Our, from our mini moon, because we did a mini moon and then a year later we did the honeymoon.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and then what also happened was a year later I lost my job.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or a year and a couple months later, I lost my job. So you can only imagine how immensely grateful I was that. I know this is the cringiest word, but I submitted to Addy on those finances, and it was the best thing that I could have done for our finances because while I had a check, we had prioritized and paid off and done everything we needed to do. Mm-hmm.
Towards your student loans.
Yep, we put my whole check towards our student loans, and that's all of that stuff is how we got to be to where we are, which is debt free now. You know what I mean? Whatever things we're working on and building and need more of or don't need more of, all of that stuff is still true. But what we don't is owe anybody.
Yeah, we were debt free before she lost her job, which is exactly where we needed to be because Joe Snow had a sizable income that she was bringing to our household. You know, like minus bonuses that I was receiving from work, our checks were very similar. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that much of a difference. So imagine losing 50% of your household income right after you achieve debt freedom. I'll never forget when we sent that check or did that cashier's check and all of that. And it's like, and it was so, and we had maybe 1 month where we're like, yeah, we made a money, we win. We had maybe 1 month of that, and then as life works, and we immediately we all of a sudden we was having another budget meeting.
But that budget meeting, I know, was much easier and better because I had spent all of that time getting on board with my partner, trusting my partner, and and honestly committing to showing her that I could love her and become who she needed me to be financially. You know what I mean?
And I feel like it was so easy for us, and this is how God works. It was so easy for us to adjust to being on a single income because we basically because we were putting all of our extra Jolene's whole check into whether it was savings or retirement or debt payoff, whatever it was. It couldn't have been retirement because we had stopped retirement to do debt payoff. You know, so we had already been functioning on one income for the most part already. It's I can only imagine what it's like for people who are maxing out their 2 income budget and then someone loses their job. Like that sucks.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was hard because, you know, I was like, I'd always heard you should try and live on one income. And I thought we weren't doing it, but we absolutely were. And so, yeah.
No. So that budget, I feel like now is one of the, it can still be a challenging thing to talk about, but what it doesn't end up in is smash out, blowout arguments, so-and-so, or Addy crying and can't talk, and I don't want nothing to do with her. Like, budgeting is challenging, I think, for any couple, and if they don't say that, then they're probably just not being real. I remember when Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union came out, and she was like, I'm tired of paying his child support, and we look at them and we're like, wait, what? Y'all got money issues? But, yeah, because when you share your life with another person, it's just that. You know what I mean? And money is a part of life.
Yeah.
So that's probably one of the things that I think we argue about have argued about the most in general, but because we have done so much work and stuff like that, I feel like off grid it's a lot easier, it's a lot better. I can rein myself in. You know, Addy don't have to be the one to be like, girl, you tripping, you know, so. Or I don't know. Do you feel like that?
No, I think, and this is the spirit of more money, more problems. When we had thousands of dollars coming in to the bank account, there was more things to be fighting over. You know, plug to the GoFundMe.
GoFundMe.
Please send us a housewarming gift. Linked in my comments. Every contribution counts.
Yes.
So now we're just working with a different. It's not necessarily different. It's just not guaranteed. We don't know. We could make $20,000 today, or we could make zero. You know what I mean? Whereas with a 9 to 5, you know what your check's gonna be at those 2 weeks. You know what I mean? So we don't really have.
We don't know.
We don't have anything to argue about. You know what I mean? Like what. You know, there's not much that you can even say that we need to do. You know what I mean? Like,
also, I think being off grid, you know, and I'm going to release this video, if not this week, so at the very beginning of next week. Like, you know, we switched and converted to minimalistic life and carrying, you know, what we had. We have way less than we had this time last year is what I'm trying to say, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and it's easy to not. I like being a minimalist, so it's easy to not. I don't know. I think I'm just trying to say, like, I used to care and want to be a Tory Burch and go get all of that stuff, but now I don't really care about that stuff anymore. Especially because, you know, right now, one, I don't like being overloaded with that stuff. All that stuff is an attachment. Two, right now, it doesn't even make sense to keep all that stuff. I feel like I'm honestly grateful to have arrived and purchased our cabin and it being full of shit, because it is like a reminder that I don't ever want a junked up house full of crap that nobody, including myself, wants. You know?
For sure. So we did the Marie Kondo and only kept stuff that bring us joy, and that's constantly changing every day.
Yep.
No, you need to help first, then I'll give you a 360 bubbling. Please contribute to the GoFundMe.
Right, and be appropriate. Come on.
Yeah. So yeah, like, I feel like everything, you know, I'm grateful. I was already on this journey, and I'm so grateful that Jay Snow saw me and joined. You know, even if it was kicking and screaming, it was still her choice, and that's why she always shows up, because she chose this. She didn't have to, you know, and I don't know.
And she didn't have to trust me. She didn't have to give me a choice. She didn't have to say, she could have just said, you know what? I've seen everything I needed to see and slid me the docs. You know what I mean? But it was not like that. I feel like we started how we wanted to finish, which was proposing and being honest and upfront about what we were thinking about, what our issues were, and deciding together how we were going to work through them or work on them.
For sure. Well, that was a great one. Another thing that we argue about off grid. We already talked about scheduling. We talked about finances. I think something that it's not like a specific thing. Hey, Trinidad, welcome, Damien from Trinidad.
What's up, Damien?
Something that comes up, I feel like, is I just lost it now. Sorry, give me a second.
Yeah, take your time.
Oh yeah, so being free from distractions means that things that were buried bubble up from the surface. Like, so we both reduced our distractions significantly. I've never felt more unplugged than ever. I have my PayPal, just send the, well, what's my PayPal? Let me add it. Okay. Thank you. Let me go to PayPal. Just contribute to the GoFundMe. I know PayPal is an option. You're making it. Just contribute to the GoFundMe. I know PayPal is an option. You're making it hard. PayPal doesn't have an at.
And I believe,
like,
if I'm not mistaken, I think GoFundMe has
PayPal
link.
Yeah, so just send through the GoFundMe link as pinned. So, but yeah, it's like, so things may that we may have not realized were issues with no distractions in the middle of nature come up as issues, and it's not one specific thing. It's just the concept of thinking that we're in a good place about something, and it bubbling up because we're meditating, we're praying, like our spiritual practice is off the charts compared to how it was before.
Absolutely.
So sometimes, so just be prepared when you go off grid. You're going to realize more stuff about yourself. You're going to realize stuff about your partner.
And this is all relationships, too, because I feel like we have stuff about our relationships, and then I feel like we also help each other navigate stuff that we realize from familial relationships, you know?
Yeah, for sure. You're going in timeout. I'm sorry. But not sorry, because you're being disruptive to the live. You're not trying to give me money. If you would have given it to me already.
Right.
You're just trying to impact. But anyway, you said for all relationships.
Yeah, the things bubble up, and and I feel like one thing, I don't remember if it was our therapist or just some good marriage advice, and I honestly feel like it was both on different occasions, which is why I felt like it was really good and true, which is like, you have to talk about some things. You can't hold on to them. And then also, it's like, if I'm over there sitting in my feelings, I think I'm doing a great job at still being present and everything. But no, Addy loves me and knows, and is like, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? So whether it's something that she did or it's emotions I'm navigating through somebody else in our family or whatever, you know what I mean? I have to be honest with her. And it's also, it's not kind to not tell her when or if she's done something to upset me. You know what I mean? It's just not kind. It leaves her in the dark, and then it's like I said, you might think you're doing this great job hiding that something's wrong with you, but your partner usually knows. And now she's over there doing mental gymnastics trying to figure out what it could be. Did she piss me off this morning when she rolled over early, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it just becomes really unkind. You know what I mean? So we have to talk to each other. And I know my friend is about to get married, and I know y'all been together for a really long time, but I know it may not seem like it, but marriage is going to change things for the betters, and just for the betterers, LOL, for the better, and just to make certain things and how you guys navigate things differently. And one of my best pieces of advice is, like, you have to talk about it. Even if she hurt your feelings when she said that she ain't like your top when you was going to work yesterday, you need to talk about it, and you need to say, I appreciated you being honest with me about that top, but I don't like how you said it. It was hard for me to receive, and it hurt my feelings. And, I've actually worn that top 4 times before, and you helped me pick that top out. So I was blindsided that you thought that top was ugly. You know what I mean? And it sounds so trivial and small, but because you guys are living together, loving each other, working together, you got to talk about that stuff, you know?
Jalila says, not mental gymnastics. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you've been married. You understand.
Mm-hmm.
No, and that goes both ways,
Mm-hmm.
I feel I'm sure, and I feel like it's not even malicious in any way. It's like
Mm-mm.
some things, it's like, you like you said, you do want to be right or be happy, and sometimes it's better just in my head. It's like, let me just stay quiet. This really isn't a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna put my whole force and energy to not bring this up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I'm putting my
The
whole
whole
force
force
and
and
energy, then
right.
obviously she can pick up on it.
Yes.
And even though I'm doing it because I'm trying to do better and like, or be more, have abundance mindset, have positive thinking,
Mm-hmm.
and it seems really, really scary to be like, I'm having doubts about this, or I have concerns about this, because not sure how it's going to land. But I think it's like, and I feel like sometimes I had the habit of bringing it up immediately because I didn't want to hold it from you.
Mm-hmm.
But then just not wanting to deal with the conversation that ensues. And then now I'm like, well, let me delay it as much as I possibly can. And I'm sure you do the same thing.
Yes.
And that's why they say communication is the most important part of marriage.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because I think, sometimes too, you psych yourself out about all of those things you think I'm going to say, or not just you, I do it too. It's like we psych ourselves out for all of those things that we think are going to happen. And I think you're going to respond this way.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's not even like that.
Yeah.
You'll be in your head for practically no reason. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So,
No, it's true. And it's like some things, some things the theme of, I would say, this past week has been like, it just doesn't feel good, and I feel like, I think the perfect example, like a lighthearted example, is music.
Yep.
I feel like when you're, especially, I'll speak for myself, before I was in a relationship or married, I was listening to whatever music I was listening to. I had my headphones in, and didn't have to answer to anybody about what kind of music I was listening to. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But some music that I listen to doesn't feel good to Jay Snow. You know what I mean? And like, I know she's doing the best to be supportive and be like, you can listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's asking you to put your full force and energy into not having emotions about it.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't mean that I can never listen to music, you know what I mean? But it has an impact, you know what I mean? So sometimes it is, and then I feel like it was with podcast, and I had to tell myself, like, how important is this podcast really, that I'm letting it come in between our marriage, you know what I mean? And it's like, now I'm asking my wife to not comment, or energetically asking her to just listen without emotion. And it's like, it's easier just to not listen to it, or listen to it at work.
I mean,
or
I feel
listen
like
to
it was a
on the
whole
toilet.
process, because I feel like at first it was like, when we were, and this is both of us having our things about moving in and living to each other. Addie had a Bluetooth speaker in her bathroom.
Yeah.
So she was blasting the podcast, and I was open to it, but it's like we end up having a conversation that about something we, one, don't even care about.
Right.
Two, ain't got nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
And three, like I said, I feel like I am, if you guys know me, I'm a spiritual person, so I do try to, listen to the best things, but I'm guilty of it. I don't have a perfectly clean musical record, or whatever you would even call that. You know what I mean? But I feel like it was hard to sit and ignore those things, because it was just really loud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it also affects your mood. Like, people don't want to think about that, but we talk about it all the time. Like, when we were both working and had to go in there and be mentally tough and basically get into our masculine energy, we were listening to those hard, angry rappers. All of them. I was listening to Gucci Mane. Ain't none of y'all stuck with me. You know what I mean? I had to really harden up. You know what I mean? But the removal of that things, it's like, okay, well, now I don't have to go to work anymore, but now I'm still listening to this music, and I don't have to be hard and, against Addy. Addy's the only person I'm seeing on a day-to-day basis. So any of this defensive energy I'm sitting here loading up on is going to come out towards her.
Yes. We got a comment. Damien says communication in marriage allows for both parties to have a mutual understanding of each other in terms of emotions. A mutual understanding. I guess, yes, for sure, Damien. But yeah, but I feel like for me, like that was really hard because, and I think it's the two become one in marriage. I used to go to a church where their marriage program was called Two Become One, and it's like for two become one, you have to let go of certain parts, and sometimes that's really hard, you know, because it's like, well, that's what my identity was defined by, not necessarily by just having the freedom to do that and not, you know what I mean?
And I think being single is like you start, certain things are comforting to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like if you weren't listening to those podcasts loud before I moved in together, I'm sure you were in there by yourself with nobody to talk to, and
Exactly.
nobody's getting ready for work, you know, in the silence.
Right, exactly. No, it was companionship that I now had with my wife, but it felt like letting go of a huge part of myself. And I remember I had a coworker who somehow I was a relationship mentor for him. Um, and his boyfriend, you know, who they had an even bigger age difference than we had. And he was like, I'm scared about him moving in because,
Oh yeah.
because I have all these hobbies that are, you know, one person hobbies, you know what I mean? And I don't know if I'll have space for those hobbies anymore because he wants my attention. And I feel like what we forget is we get married in the first place because those one person hobbies weren't fulfilling.
They aren't doing the job.
They're not, exactly. And, you know, for me, it was the Addition podcast, and now it is morphed into what we're doing now. But that was really hard for me because it was a big part of my identity. And I feel like going back to our previous conversations, the bank account, you know, was your version of that. Like, you know, I'm sure it was a big deal for you to get that bank account. You know what I mean? You know, and it's like, well, and now, that's losing a part of yourself, and you have to realize that it was never actually a part of yourself. It was just a thing, you know. But it seems like a really, really, really big deal at the time.
Yeah.
Autonomy. While we wanted autonomy to do different things, it was always a moment where autonomy felt threatened in the marriage. So we got some comments. So communication in a marriage will also show you how much you can count on that person to be there for you should a situation arise. And this is Damien. My wife and I were married for 7 years before she passed in April. Oh, so sorry. And we spoke about everything, both good and bad. We kept nothing from each other. I'm so happy to hear that, Damien. You know, we were supposed to talk about our relationship way earlier in our marriage, and we got blocked. We let people think that we weren't advanced or established enough to talk about
or
it.
that our life experience would prevent us somehow from being qualified to discuss marriage.
Yeah. But now I have the confidence that we know a lot about marriage. Otherwise, we wouldn't still be married. You know what I mean? And we're not just married. We're happily married. We're off grid. We're closer than we've ever been before and have gotten closer.
And living our dream.
Yes.
And
together,
achieving our goals.
That we made together. So, yeah. I think, like, we even did our birth charts yesterday, and just seeing how, like, individuality and autonomy are a big part of my chart, and I feel like that's something that's also just been something that has caused fights and arguments. Oh, you got some stuff on you.
Yeah, I definitely got mud exploded on me.
Oh, no.
Chopping that wood.
And, so it's like, and I feel like couples handle it different ways, but at the end of the day, it's like, I was so lonely being single, and it's like to have, and I think this happens, I'm sure, in a lot of marriages. You get so used to having you almost like, it's like grass is greener, and it's like, well, what about all my my solitude, my alone time, my whatever, my this, and it's like, well, but you got married to merge your life with someone else. Are there a lot of mosquitoes? Absolutely. That's why we have a fire going to keep as many away as possible.
There's always a lot of mosquitoes. It's also the beginning of the month, so it's time for me to redo the mosquito traps, which I'm gonna do, but it's feeling harder because it's so wet,
Mm-hmm.
from all of the rain. So there's way, way, way more standing water
Yeah.
that I can't even see.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
know,
I mean,
but
we see it on the roads in
yeah,
a dip. There's a whole puddle of standing water
yeah,
now, you know.
yeah. But I still am gonna do the mosquito traps because I believe it helps. We got another one.
Oh, Damien, a bit of citronella oil should do the trick. So we had a whole tank of citronella oil. We used so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
It does help. It's just, to deal with the amount of mosquitoes we
Mm-hmm.
have,
I
we need
don't want
more.
not to be morbid, but they need to die.
Yeah.
Because what we're dealing with here is it's like it's frost everywhere else on the mainland, so the mosquitoes are dying off. But I don't believe it's ever going to frost here. I don't think it's going to get cold enough where
Not
we
where
live.
we live.
So, we're mosquitoes are year round.
Mm-hmm.
So, they said with those traps, you're killing generations of mosquitoes, and I'm holding true to
Yeah.
that, and hope that I put a dent in this mosquito population.
You absolutely
I do.
have. We can feel it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, mosquitoes are bad, but yeah, no. Back to marriage arguments. I liked what Damien said. It's like you have to talk about everything, the good and the bad. So like I said, I gave that whole ugly shirt scenario. You know what I mean? You have to talk about that. But what's also I know specifically important for really both of us, but Addy is a person who thrives off feedback. So if I've given her feedback, she also deserves and wants to hear when I'm like, yes, this is what I want. When you did that, that made me feel seen, that made me feel heard, that made me feel loved. Let's, keep going with that and vice versa. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Feedback can be positive as well.
Yep. So.
He also said, I heard the egg cartons also keep them away. The smoke kills them. So, I guess burning egg cartons, are you saying?
Maybe. We don't do eggs too much on the homestead because they're too hard for us. I'm sure if we had chickens, it'd be different. But the eggs from the grocery store have to stay chilled.
Mm-hmm.
And that means we have to be on top of the cooler and make
Yeah.
sure it has ice all the time. And I think that's also why our groceries have kind of like, it's been less consistent to even feel like going to the grocery store because, I talk about all the time, all that is energy. Preserving the food,
Yeah.
remembering to go to the store to get the ice when we're out, you know what I mean? The
Yeah.
refrigerator makes it kind of brainless, but not even. That's what you pay that high power bill for.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But
And buy the refrigerator.
and buy the refrigerator. So it's still too much energy for us right now, for eggs specifically. But they taste delicious in the morning. Mm.
Any other, more comments. I dated her for 12 years before we were married. So yeah, we had a lot of talking going on between us even then. And yeah, I feel like something that we don't directly fight over, but has an impact is that we did not date for 12 years. We dated for maybe a couple months before we got engaged and then got married a few months later. So a lot of stuff that people work out before they get married, we're working out as we're already married, which honestly I see a benefit from because you're already committed to each other. Whereas like you may like lose your person in silly arguments when you're dating and break up and just be like, oh, this isn't gonna work because you don't have a commitment. So we had to work through our really, really, really challenging things, already committed to each other, and I feel like something that we did probably argue over was us even suggesting that the other person wasn't fully committed. So yeah. You were saying?
I don't know. I was just kind of trying to think. I think I was just gonna say I feel like out of all the things, we argue about off grid, I think those are it the most because we really don't argue like that. You know what I mean? Like we have differences, we have things that we need to talk through, but I personally don't like to be in a yelling or screaming match. I feel like Addy pointed out that I have that Aries moon. So it's like I'm always working to manage my anger, but what doesn't ever feel good is standing up and yelling at Addy. You know what I mean? So I don't ever want to be doing that. And if we get to a place where I realize I'm doing that, I'm immediately like, let's just stop talking, because at that point I'm tripping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when we argue, but I don't think we don't have smash out, blowout fights. And I feel like what also deepens the longer that we're together, that feels good, is being able to trust and rely that she's not gonna leave because I have these emotions or these differences that I'm coming that I'm there's something I'm having trouble with, and something that I need from her, and trusting that she's committed to me and committed to us, and that's not gonna change no matter what I'm saying is what I need or what I want. And that becomes easier over time. And I think that also just contributes to less arguments. You know what I mean? Because it's like, well, we don't need to fuss about it. I'm telling you how I feel about it, and we can just figure it out as we continue. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't have the answer. I feel like there are so many times where, like she said, it's like, you know what, that didn't feel good, but I understand why you did it that way, because I don't know what would feel better.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I feel like, I guess in terms of just background things that we argue about, we're just different people, and that goes for every relationship. We have different life experiences, we have different norms, we have different family dynamics, we have different we have the same birth order, but it's just like we're not the same people.
We've just
we
had
grew up
completely
different
life
places,
experiences,
and
we come together in that now, but those differences rear their head.
Yeah. Damien says, by the way, it's a nice place you got there. Thank you. We love it too. We put our whole life savings to buy it. So yes, we appreciate the positive comments. But yeah, it's like, you know, but it's sometimes it's like, what do you mean? I feel like it's, people always talk about, what do you mean the sky's not blue? But it's like, well, but growing up, the sky was purple, and it's like, it's like, wait, what are you talking about? And I feel like seeking to understand versus be understood is a great rule of thumb for marriage. It's like, wait, why do you think like that? And trying to withhold judgment, as much as possible. And I feel like the judgment comes because it's like, I never would have guessed that would be your point of view on something based on the person that I met. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's something, they say marriage is a mirror, because I'm sure you have stuff about that with me. It's like, what do you mean you have this thought? You know what I mean? When it's like, based on how you showed up at the beginning of our marriage or when we first met, I'm shocked that you would even think this way.
And now I'm scared of you because I think that's wild.
Yeah. But it's also like, that's so much of our thoughts are not necessarily our thoughts. So much of those things are things implanted into us by our environment. Who were the main, because our thoughts and opinions and beliefs change over time, and it's based on who we're talking to, who we're listening to, what kind of content we're listening to. So some things that I may have thought were my beliefs, weren't actually my beliefs. You know what I mean? They were beliefs they were limiting beliefs.
Right.
Yep. And I feel, and I'm sure it's the same for you. You know what I mean? And it takes time to, as a human, nevertheless someone in a marriage, to know what is true for you as opposed to what has been imposed on you.
And that goes for everything, whether it's like financial beliefs, limiting beliefs, communication limiting beliefs, relationship limiting beliefs. Like, that could go for everything. You know what I mean? Because I feel like so much, going back to finances, it's like so much of what you think and feel about finances. And that's why, again, shout out to that Ramit podcast. I was so grateful for it, because he really does a good job on that podcast of like showing even the couples in that moment, like, a lot of these things that you feel and think about money are not true because of what you two as a couple are experiencing together, but what you're bringing in stuff that was part of your childhood. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think a good example is like the wife who loves going out to dinner and the husband's who's like, you know, I don't think we need to be spending money on that. And these are
Mm-hmm.
couples who are having like super high incomes, you know what I mean? Like 300K a year together combined. And it's like, of course, y'all can be going out to dinner. And then, you know, you
Mm-hmm.
get to the root of it, and it's like, well, I never went out to dinner when I was younger. That
Yeah.
was seen as something really unwise to do with money. And it's like, but how do you actually feel about that now when you go to dinner with your wife? Don't you enjoy going to dinner with her? And don't you enjoy seeing her happy as she enjoys that meal and spends that time with you? You know what I mean? So it's so easy to carry these things
Yeah.
that you thought are yours, but are really just things that you have accepted as truth because somebody told it to you a long time ago. And
Yeah.
now you're in this relationship where you have to address that thought head on. You have to address that pattern head on. And that's the kind of depth I feel like you can only get from marriage, and the type of understanding about yourself that you can only get through marriage and wanting to become better through the marriage.
For sure. One of my favorite analogies. Oh, we got another comment. I guess your background in terms of beliefs, family values, and reputation can have both positive and negative impacts on a marriage too.
Mm-hmm. For
Absolutely.
sure.
And my favorite analogy about what Jolene or Jason just described is the Thanksgiving turkey butt being cut off.
Oh yes.
So there's a family where it's like they always cut the butt off the turkey before they roast it in the oven.
Every
And
year, no matter what.
every year, no matter what, until one of the granddaughters like, why would we cut the butt off the turkey? And the mom's like, well, because grandma always did it. So she went to grandma and said, why do you always cut the butt off the turkey? And she said, because the pan I had wasn't big enough to hold the whole turkey. So I cut it off. So it's like the family adopted it as this best practice. It is known.
Mm-hmm.
When it's like, if your pan is big enough for the turkey, you don't have to cut the butt off.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, it's time for dinner for me. So take care, y'all, and God bless. I'll like and sub before I leave. Thank you so much, Damien.
Good night, Damien.
And
Enjoy your
blessings
dinner.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it is not known. And I feel like that is, and we're doing a Game of Thrones reference, and it's like, and I think the perfect example of limiting belief is those women who kept saying it is known, it is known. It wasn't actually true. It was just known. It was just what had spread. It wasn't the truth. Daenerys broke every box that they said was known.
It was a lie that everybody felt comfortable in, because if you believe that you can never become an astronaut, you don't have to ever worry about being an astronaut.
Exactly.
But when somebody comes in the room and is like, girl, we can be astronauts and we can be rocket ship builders, and they'll be like, oh no, you tripping.
Right. No, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
So, yeah, so those are the things I think we argue about the most off grid. And they're all things that we argued about off grid.
Yeah. And they're no different from the things we argued about on grid. You know, I feel like we argue less often, I would say, off grid than on grid, because you can't afford to be upset at your off grid partner.
I was just about to say that. It's like, there's no sense in going to bed mad and angry, and then I gotta go poop in the dark by myself, and now I'm like, to my only friend, can I go? Can you come with me?
Right.
So it's just no need to hold on to that bad energy. And I also think this is also another good Dave Ramsey thing about marriage, is he's like, y'all are on the same team, So I think as far as arguments go, that's also something that I remember when I feel like I might think Addie's trying to do something against me, or I don't understand her actions, or I don't understand what she said and all of that stuff. You kind of have to just stop and be like, well, you know what? This person loves me. You know what I mean? And what she's saying, what her truth is right now. So instead of feeling defensive or taking it as attack, I can, like she said a second ago, step up outside of myself and be like, what can I really see here that's going on, and how can I hear what she's saying and be like, where do I see what she's saying? Empathize. empathize and have compassion.
Yes. Lead with the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Paula. Ma gang in the house. I appreciate y'all showing up. We got like 1 more minute left of the live, but the replay will be up, I guess, a little less than 12 hours from now. So.
We hope that we help you guys when we are talking about these kinds of things.
Yeah.
Because we watched Love Off the Grid, and there were some great couples and some great things, but there was something, I think it needed more. And so we're happy to be, a voice, a path, a creator that helps you understand things that you may not understand before you start this lifestyle. So it means a lot for you guys to watch these videos and listen to us and enjoy the space and platform we create to share, honestly, our really intimate thoughts, feelings, and experiences on the platform.
Yeah, I call it my highly public diary.
Mm-hmm.
How are you doing? I was like, oh my God, I miss it, the live. Yeah, well, we're live every day, and all the replays are on our channel. If you go to the live tab, you can catch up. We're 11 and 12 episodes in. You can binge, and we want you to binge.
We want you to binge. Trying to get those watch hours up. You guys know we're trying to get monetized.
Yes.
So your click button support really helps.
Yes.
Almost as much as donating directly to our GoFundMe or buying something from our Etsy store.
Yep.
The flash sale will end.
Yes.
Abruptly. The flash sale will end. One more time for y'all in the back. The flash sale will end. Things will not always be 99-cent. Readings, healings will not always be $10. So I implore you guys to take advantage of that while it's available. In the meantime, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys showing up for me this morning. I'm going to show up for you guys tomorrow. Like we said, we are live daily every single day from 10 a.m. Hawaii time to noon.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for joining. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment. We can get a discussion going in the chats. You guys can let us know what you guys think about what we're saying and how we're doing things. Talk. We want to know you're here. We want to hear your opinion. So comment, like, subscribe. Go buy something from our Etsy store because the flash sale will end.
Yep.
And donate to our GoFundMe.
GoFundMe, LinkedIn comments.
We love you guys.
Love you.
See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.